Hey, this is PoeticWhiz. Since everyone has got the new iPad Pro M1 and yet to decide if they should get one for themselves, here's me telling you what you should do and what you should be looking forward between the iPad Pro M1 and the iPadOS that we are going to see in WWDC 21. Let's talk about the iPad Pro M1, which one you should get and if it's any better than the previous two iPad Pro models in both sizes. Personally, there is no difference between the iPad Pro M1 alongside the previous two iPad models. The only difference each year is the RAM upgrade and the storage getting better, and nothing as we wish to see in the storage side, at least. For me personally, 128GB is more than enough to do video editing on LumaFusion or use any other creative app like Procreate, Infinite Photo. Rest the usual binge watching and writing poems script on the iPad Pro. I feel since we have got 8GB RAM on the iPad Pro M1, it should be more than sufficient for whatever your workflow is on the iPad Pro M1. Since from my point of view, the last two iPad Pro models might have got a good RAM, but then the app at times post shuts itself, even if you're doing anything heavy lifting. As that I have noticed on the regular iPad when I use LumaFusion to export videos or while just multitasking between apps. As for the display on the iPad Pro M1, here's where both the iPad Pro 11-inch and the iPad Pro 12.9-inch differ. The iPad Pro 11-inch is the same display that you get to see in the previous two iPad models. As well, where the iPad Pro 12.9-inch comes in is the XDR display, aka mini LED. Same display you might find in the 6K iPad Pro XDR display. The only benefit you get to see with the iPad Pro 12.9-inch is that you get deeper black and richer color accuracy while binge watching on movies or doing video editing or photo editing. It might come in handy while doing creative workflow. Do check out this video where I talk about my concerns that might be on the iPad Pro M1. As well, support the channel by smacking that subscribe button to know everything about Apple and tech reviews. Now that I have let you all know about the iPad Pro M1, here's me telling you which one you should get for yourself. The iPad Pro 11-inch or the iPad Pro 12.9-inch. As for the display size, it really depends on if you want portability or bigger screen size. If you enjoy doing more, then you please. I personally prefer the iPad Pro 11-inch. It's the right size for me and my use case. I feel 12.9-inch is too big, and if I need anything that size, I better get the MacBook Air or the MacBook Pro. As for the RAM and storage, if you choose anything between 128GB and 512GB, you get 8GB of RAM. And if you go for 1TB or the new 2TB, you get the insane 12GB RAM, which is bonkers for an iPad Pro M1. If you are a casual iPad Pro user, 128GB is more than enough. If you need anything extra, then the 256GB for longevity. Anything higher than 512GB is overkill. As for the colors on the iPad Pro, it's totally up to you since you are going to use it, and I still prefer space grey. My final thoughts on the iPad Pro M1. Upgrade to the new iPad Pro M1 only if you are coming from a 5-year-old or more iPad. If you already own the previous two iPad Pro models, then no need to upgrade until you're an iPad Pro 12.9-inch user. Now coming to the iPadOS and iOS 15, what I wish to see in WWDC. iPadOS 15, I wish to see redesigned home screen and lock screen, better improvement to files since there's no indication if the files we share between SSD or locally saved in the files. Multitasking on the iPad needs some sort of major improvement or tweak that can be less confusing and more easier to use. Since some of the apps are not optimal on the iPad, wish them to at least have an iPhone version placed in the multitasking time. If there's anything I want Apple to do is bring updates to the external monitor support for all sorts of display sizes. Multi-user support would be a welcome addition to not just iPad as well iPhone. Since I'm talking about the iPadOS and iOS 15, I wish to see Apple from their end bring app lock support inbuilt in the iOS for both on iPad as well on iOS. As for the iOS 15, for most part same as mentioned on the iPadOS. I wish to see the ability to customize our lock screen and maybe have custom icon packs installed in the Go, then have to have the same icon twice. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. I know this might seem a bit nitpicking, but it would be nice if we could have the option to place our control center wherever we want, since the iPhone comes in various screen sizes. Do let me know what you want to see on the iPadOS and iOS 15. Till then, this is your PoeticWhiz. Do like, comment and subscribe to the channel for awesome videos. Live your dreams.